What if some of Europe's most iconic cities are living on borrowed time? Rising sea levels, climate change, and other natural and economic threats are putting beloved destinations at risk of vanishing within the next few decades. These cities, renowned for their beauty and history, are on the front line of a battle for survival, facing challenges that could leave them unrecognizable or worse by 2050. Today, we'll uncover 10 European cities that could disappear by 2050. Each city has its unique story of resilience, but the forces against them are immense. Stay tuned as we reveal how these cities are fighting back and what the future holds for them. Number 10. Venice, Italy. Venice, famously known as the Floating City, has long been a symbol of romance and resilience. Built on a network of canals, it's now at the mercy of rising sea levels and sinking foundations, a deadly combination for its survival. A 2023 report by UNESCO revealed that Venice is sinking at a rate of 1 to 2 millimeters per year, while the Adriatic Sea continues to rise. The acqua alta, or high tides, are becoming more frequent and severe. In November 2019, Venice experienced its worst flooding in 50 years, causing over €1 billion in damages and leaving landmarks like St. Mark's Basilica in peril. In 2023 alone, there were 16 instances of major flooding, highlighting the urgency of addressing this crisis. The most flood barrier system, activated in 2020, has provided temporary relief, protecting Venice during high tide events. However, critics argue that it's not a long-term solution and requires constant maintenance, costing millions annually. Local officials are also grappling with over-tourism, as an estimated 25 million visitors flock to the city annually, exacerbating infrastructure strain. Venice's population has dropped dramatically, with fewer than 50,000 residents living in the historic center, compared to over 175,000 in the 1950s. Many Venetians have been forced to relocate due to rising costs and deteriorating living conditions. Without decisive action, the city could become more of a museum for tourists than a livable home for its people. Environmental groups have called for international cooperation to combat climate change, which remains the primary driver of Venice's woes. While the city's charm and cultural significance endure, its future is precarious without global efforts to reverse the tide. Number 9. Amsterdam, Netherlands. Amsterdam, the Venice of the North, is another European city battling the rising waters. Known for its picturesque canals and progressive culture, the Dutch capital faces increasing risks from climate change and rising sea levels. According to a 2023 study by the European Climate Foundation, the North Sea could rise by up to 1 meter by 2100, endangering Amsterdam's iconic waterways. The Netherlands has long been a global leader in flood management, investing billions in innovative infrastructure like the Delta Works and Room for the River projects. However, recent projections suggest these measures may not be sufficient if global temperatures continue to rise. By 2050, experts warn that Amsterdam may require even more extensive and costly defenses. The city's historic canal houses, many of which date back to the 17th century, are particularly vulnerable to shifting soil and water damage. In 2024, Amsterdam began a €2 billion project to reinforce aging canal walls, a daunting task given the city's expansive network of waterways. Despite these efforts, maintaining the delicate balance between heritage preservation and flood prevention remains a challenge. Tourism and population growth add further pressure to the city's infrastructure. Amsterdam welcomed over 21 million visitors in 2023, and projections suggest this number will continue to rise. The influx of tourists not only strains resources, but also exacerbates environmental degradation. Local officials are exploring innovative solutions, including floating neighborhoods and eco-friendly urban designs. However, the city's survival ultimately hinges on global climate policies and a concerted effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Without these, Amsterdam's future as a thriving city may be in jeopardy. Number 8. Naples, Italy. Naples, a city renowned for its vibrant culture, stunning coastline, and ancient history, faces multiple existential threats. Situated near Mount Vesuvius, one of the world's most dangerous volcanoes, Naples lies under the constant shadow of potential volcanic eruptions. A 2023 report by the Italian Geological Society warned that Vesuvius is overdue for an eruption, raising fears of a catastrophic event. Adding to this threat is the nearby Phlegrean Fields, a supervolcanic caldera that has shown signs of increased activity. Experts monitoring the area reported heightened seismic activity in late 2023, sparking concerns about a possible eruption. These natural risks are compounded by rising sea levels, which threaten Naples' coastal districts and historic port. Urban decay is another significant challenge for Naples. The city struggles with aging infrastructure, overcrowding, and widespread poverty, with 30% of its population living below the poverty line as of 2024. These socioeconomic issues hinder efforts to modernize the city and prepare for potential disasters. Tourism, while a vital economic driver, also adds stress to the city's fragile systems. In 2023, Naples welcomed over 7 million tourists, but the influx often overwhelms its public services and historical sites. Protecting landmarks like Pompeii and the Naples National Archaeological Museum from environmental and human damage is an ongoing battle. Despite these challenges, Naples is showing signs of resilience. Local initiatives aimed at revitalizing urban areas and improving disaster preparedness are gaining momentum. However, the city's survival hinges on addressing both natural and man-made threats before it's too late. Number 7. Thessaloniki, Greece. Thessaloniki, Greece's cultural capital, is a city steeped in history, from its Byzantine landmarks to its vibrant modern art scene. However, its location along the Aegean coast makes it particularly vulnerable to climate change. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion are already taking a toll on this historic city. A 2023 report from the Hellenic Meteorological Agency indicated that parts of Thessaloniki's waterfront could be submerged by 2050 if current trends continue. The city has also seen an increase in extreme weather events, including flash floods that caused €20 million in damages in 2023 alone. These challenges highlight the urgent need for climate adaptation measures. Urban sprawl and unregulated construction exacerbate the city's vulnerability. Poor drainage systems and outdated infrastructure often fail to cope with heavy rainfall, leading to frequent flooding. In late 2023, a particularly devastating storm displaced hundreds of residents and damaged vital infrastructure. Thessaloniki's ancient monuments, including the White Tower and the Rotunda, are also at risk. Environmental degradation and pollution threaten the preservation of these UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Efforts to protect these landmarks are underway, but funding and bureaucracy pose significant obstacles. Despite these challenges, Thessaloniki remains a hub of resilience and creativity. Local authorities are investing in green infrastructure projects and coastal defenses to mitigate the impact of climate change. However, the clock is ticking, and the city's long-term survival depends on broader global efforts to combat rising temperatures. Number 6. Riga, Latvia. Riga, the charming capital of Latvia, is renowned for its Art Nouveau architecture and picturesque old town. Yet, this Baltic beauty faces significant risks from rising sea levels and erratic weather patterns linked to climate change. The city's location along the Daugava River and proximity to the Baltic Sea make it particularly vulnerable. A 2024 report by Climate Central revealed that parts of Riga's low-lying districts could be underwater by 2050 if global temperatures continue to rise. Coastal erosion and flooding are already causing damage to vital infrastructure, including the city's transportation networks and historic sites. In October 2023, a major storm flooded parts of the old town, forcing evacuations and highlighting the city's vulnerability. The economic impact of these environmental challenges is substantial. Tourism, which contributed over €1 billion to Latvia's economy in 2023, could take a hit as visitors shy away from flood-prone areas. Protecting landmarks like the House of the Blackheads and Riga Castle has become a top priority, but the cost of preservation continues to rise. Riga's government has launched climate adaptation initiatives, such as improving drainage systems and constructing new flood defenses. However, with limited resources, the city relies heavily on international support and EU funding. Without swift action, Riga's cultural and economic significance could face irreversible damage. Despite these challenges, Riga remains a vibrant and resilient city. Its commitment to sustainability and preservation offers hope. But the fight against climate change requires a united global effort to ensure its survival. Number 5. Dublin, Ireland. Dublin, the bustling capital of Ireland, is a hub of culture, history, and innovation. However, its position along the Irish Sea leaves it vulnerable to rising sea levels and increasingly severe storms. A 2023 report by Ireland's Environmental Protection Agency warned that parts of Dublin's coastal neighborhoods could face regular flooding by 2050. Extreme weather events, such as Storm Barra in December 2022, caused millions of euros in damages and disrupted daily life for thousands of residents. The city's aging infrastructure, particularly its drainage systems, struggles to cope with the increasing frequency of heavy rainfall. Experts estimate that updating Dublin's flood defenses could cost upwards of €1 billion over the next 2 decades. Tourism, a cornerstone of Dublin's economy, is also at risk. Iconic landmarks like Trinity College, Dublin Castle, and the River Liffey attract millions of visitors annually, generating over €5 billion in revenue in 2023. Protecting these sites from environmental threats has become a priority for local authorities. In response to these challenges, Dublin has implemented measures such as the construction of seawalls and investment in green infrastructure. The city is also promoting sustainability initiatives, including efforts to reduce carbon emissions and transition to renewable energy. These steps aim to mitigate the long-term effects of climate change. Despite the looming risks, Dublin continues to thrive as a vibrant cultural and economic center. Its resilience and adaptability provide hope that the city can overcome the challenges it faces and maintain its status as a beloved destination. Number 4. Hamburg, Germany. Hamburg, Germany's second-largest city and one of Europe's busiest ports, faces growing threats from rising sea levels and storm surges. Located along the Elbe River and the North Sea, Hamburg has long relied on its waterways for economic and cultural vitality. However, these same waters now pose a significant risk to the city's future. A 2023 study by the European Environment Agency highlighted Hamburg as one of the cities most at risk from flooding in northern Europe. The report warned that without additional flood defenses, parts of the city could be underwater by 2050. In 2022, Storm Zeynep caused record-breaking high tides, inundating parts of the port and nearby neighborhoods. Hamburg's port, which generates €20 billion annually and employs tens of thousands, is particularly vulnerable. Rising waters and extreme weather could disrupt shipping operations and threaten Germany's broader economy. Efforts to fortify the port are ongoing, but the costs are staggering. The city has invested heavily in climate adaptation measures, including advanced flood barriers and elevated infrastructure. The Hafen City District, one of Hamburg's flagship urban development projects, incorporates flood-resistant designs to safeguard against rising waters. However, experts caution that these measures may not be enough if global warming continues unchecked. Hamburg's commitment to innovation and sustainability provides a blueprint for other cities facing similar challenges. But without global efforts to reduce emissions, even the most advanced local solutions may fall short in protecting this vibrant and vital city. Number 3. Dubrovnik, Croatia. Dubrovnik, often called the Pearl of the Adriatic, is famous for its medieval walls, historic old town, and role as a backdrop for major productions like Game of Thrones. However, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is increasingly threatened by climate change and unsustainable tourism. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion pose a direct threat to Dubrovnik's fragile infrastructure. A 2024 report by the Croatian Meteorological and Hydrological Service warned that parts of Dubrovnik's coastline could be submerged by 2050. Storm surges and flooding have already caused damage to the city's historic harbor and fortifications. In November 2023, a severe storm resulted in €10 million in damages, forcing authorities to rethink their coastal defenses. Over-tourism exacerbates the city's vulnerabilities. In 2023, Dubrovnik welcomed over 2 million visitors, far outnumbering its population of just 40,000. The influx has strained resources and caused wear and tear on historic landmarks, prompting UNESCO to issue warnings about the city's preservation. Dubrovnik has implemented measures such as limiting daily tourist numbers and investing in sustainable tourism practices. The city is also exploring ways to fortify its coastline, but these projects require substantial funding and international cooperation. Without decisive action, Dubrovnik risks losing its cultural and economic lifeline. Despite these challenges, Dubrovnik remains a symbol of resilience and beauty. Its efforts to balance preservation with progress offer hope, but the clock is ticking for this iconic Adriatic gem. Number 2. London, England. London, one of the world's most iconic cities, is no stranger to environmental challenges. Sitting along the River Thames, the UK capital is increasingly vulnerable to rising sea levels and heavy rainfall. A 2023 report by the UK Met Office projected that London could face monthly flooding events by 2050 without significant action. The Thames Barrier, operational since 1982, has been a crucial defense against tidal surges. However, experts warn that the barrier, designed for conditions in the 20th century, may be inadequate for the challenges of the 21st. Upgrading or replacing it could cost over £5 billion, a staggering expense for the city. In 2022, flash floods inundated parts of London, disrupting public transport and damaging homes and businesses. The city's Victorian-era drainage system struggles to cope with the increasing frequency of heavy downpours. Urban development and population growth further exacerbate the strain on infrastructure. London's cultural landmarks, from the Houses of Parliament to the Tower of London, are also at risk. Rising humidity and pollution contribute to the deterioration of historic buildings, prompting conservation efforts that require ongoing investment. Tourism, which generated £16 billion in 2023, could suffer if these iconic sites are compromised. Despite these risks, London is investing in green infrastructure and flood management strategies. The city's ambitious climate action plan aims to achieve net zero emissions by 2030, a crucial step in mitigating future risks. London's ability to adapt and innovate will determine whether it thrives or succumbs to the rising tide. Number 1. Athens, Greece. Athens, the cradle of Western civilization, faces an uncertain future as climate change and urban challenges threaten its survival. Rising temperatures, wildfires, and water shortages are putting immense pressure on the Greek capital. A 2023 report by the National Observatory of Athens warned that average summer temperatures could rise by 3 to 4 degrees C by 2050, making parts of the city nearly uninhabitable. The city's ancient landmarks, including the Acropolis, are under threat from both environmental and human factors. Air pollution and extreme weather accelerate the deterioration of these priceless monuments. In 2023, UNESCO flagged the Parthenon as being at significant risk due to increased weathering and inadequate conservation efforts. Athens also struggles with urban sprawl and inadequate infrastructure. Frequent heat waves, like the one in August 2023 that reached a record-breaking 46 degrees Celsius, exacerbate energy demands and strain public services. Wildfires in surrounding regions have also led to mass evacuations and destruction of green spaces vital for the city's climate resilience. Efforts are underway to combat these challenges. Athens has invested in urban greening projects, including planting more trees and creating shaded areas to mitigate the urban heat island effect. The city is also working on improving water management systems to address shortages and reduce flood risks. While Athens remains a global symbol of history and resilience, its future depends on local and international action. Preserving this ancient city requires confronting modern challenges head-on, ensuring it remains a beacon of culture and innovation for generations to come. There you have it, 10 European cities that could disappear by 2050. From climate change to urban decay, these iconic destinations face unprecedented challenges that threaten their very existence. Yet, in each of these cities, there's a story of resilience and hope, a fight to preserve history and culture against the odds. What do you think? Can these cities survive the challenges of the 21st century? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore our channel for more insights into the world's most fascinating places. Thank you for watching.